This is the Thrustmaster T300, and without a doubt it's been the most heavily requested wheelbase for me to review. So I went out, I bought it myself, and I'm ready to answer the question. Is the Thrustmaster T300 still worth it in 2022? Well, let's find out. The Thrustmaster T300 was released way back in 2014, the same year as that glorious World Cup, and there's since been a few variations which I should begin by explaining. You see, the one I have is the T300 standalone wheelbase, essentially no wheel, no pedals, just the wheelbase. On the other hand, the T300 RS comes with the same wheelbase, a relatively generic Thrustmaster wheel rim, and for the lack of better words, an extremely crappy 2-pedal pedal set. Above that is the Thrustmaster T300 RS GT Edition. This one comes with the exact same wheelbase, a GT Sport branded wheel rim, and the T3PA GT pedals, which still aren't great, but definitely better than the ones that come with the standard RS package. According to the official Thrustmaster website, the standalone T300 wheelbase, the one I have, retails for $230. The T300 RS retails for $400 and the GT edition for $450. Although with supply shortages, scalpers, and the rise in demand for sim racing hardware, you'll be lucky if you can actually find them for that price. For reference, I paid $350 for mine on Amazon. While the Thrustmaster T300 works with PC and PlayStation 3, 4, and 5, the Thrustmaster TX is essentially the exact same thing, except it works with Xbox and PC and has a slightly different steering wheel design. The most important thing to recognize is that despite all the variations available for the T300 and the TX, they all have the exact same wheelbase with the exact same internal mechanisms and overall performance. So everything I say regarding my experience with the T300 wheelbase will equally apply across the T300 and TX lineup. And so with all that being said, let's finally get into the review. No, stop. We're not doing that again. In terms of specs, the T300 packs a big punch. It features a dual belt force feedback mechanism capable of exerting up to 3.9 Nm of force. For reference, the Logitech G29 gives off about 2.2 and the Thrustmaster T150 just a little more than that. So in terms of overall force, it's a decent step up from those. Featuring a dual belt mechanism, it's also very silent and you practically can't even hear it when using headphones or speakers. From a design perspective, there's not much to talk about. It's constructed from hard plastic and looks relatively simple. No fancy colors or materials, just whatever does the job, I guess. Wow. Something I will note is that at just over 10 pounds, it is surprisingly heavy, a lot heavier than even the newer T248. This, paired with its decent force feedback capabilities, means that the T300 is ideally meant to be used on a dedicated sim racing cockpit or wheel stand. Despite that, it does come with the standard plastic Thrustmaster table clamp if you still wish to use it on a table or flat surface. This probably isn't recommended, but it's nice that Thrustmaster gives you the option instead of charging you $30. Underneath the T300 are two hard mounting holes and another to use with the table clamp. Behind the wheelbase is where everything plugs in, such as the power cable, pedals, and any other Thrustmaster accessory, such as the TH8S shifter, which is sold separately. Arguably the most notable feature of the T300 is that it features Thrustmaster's quick release mechanism, which allows users to interchange wheel rims. This is a feature not available in the Thrustmaster T150, TMX, or even the brand new T248. But whilst having the ability to interchange wheel rims is great, the way Thrustmaster goes about doing so is pretty pathetic. You see, it shouldn't even be considered a quick release because it's anything but quick. To change wheels, you must first turn the wheel upside down, go find a screwdriver, remove a very small black screw, carefully untighten the attached wheel, carefully insert another one without damaging any pins, retighten, and then screw everything back in. Whereas a real quick release shouldn't take more than like 5 seconds. Anyways, let's talk about the in-game performance where, if I'm being completely honest, the T300 performed like I expected it to. Immediately, it felt a lot smoother, precise, and stronger than cheaper offerings like the Logitech G Series wheels and Thrustmaster T150 and TMX. So in that sense, I can certainly see it being a step up from those, but that's expected. The part that most impressed me is its speed and reactiveness. This wheel snaps back very quickly, far quicker than the newer T248 and even on par with the much more expensive TSXW. So for you rally and drift enthusiasts, this is huge. The force feedback is also impressive. From hitting bumps and curbs to losing traction and going on different surfaces, you can definitely feel it all, but just not with the clearest of detail. It's good enough to win races, just not the most immersion focused, if that makes sense, and that's where mid and high range systems are really distinguished. The amount of force given off by this wheel is also very respectable. It's not what I'm used to after being spoiled in high-end gear, but if you're brand new to sim racing or upgrading from a lower end wheel, it's a big and notable step up. In that sense, it begins to feel more like a sim-focused piece of hardware rather than just a consumer toy. It's not going to break your wrist by any means, but it won't be anything you'll be flinging around with one finger either. I will note that it did feel a lot better in some games compared to others. Most notably, Assetto Corsa felt incredible with the T300, whereas F1 2020 was slightly disappointing. With its maximum 1080-degree rotation, the T300 will also be suitable for roughly any driving style. From trucks to Formula cars, this wheel's rotation will not be holding you back. In conclusion, my experience with the T300 was very good. The wheelbase alone is a capable piece of hardware which features several luxuries such as a quick release, a 1080-degree rotation, and a dual belt force feedback mechanism. In-game, the wheel won't be holding you back. Whilst it's nowhere near the capabilities of higher-end direct drive units, it'll be more than enough to make you a serious contender on track. It's for this reason that in the recent virtual 24-hour Le Mans, many professional esport drivers were using a T300. But all that being said, I would ultimately only recommend the T300 if you can find it at a good price. With so many more options like the Fanatec CSL-DD and Thrustmaster TSXW or TGT2 costing only a little more than the T300 at current prices, I would rather go with some of those. That being said, if you can find the T300 selling for a retail price or even below that, you will definitely not be disappointed. In terms of how this wheel stacks up to the brand new Thrustmaster T248, which retails for around the same price, I'll be making an in-depth comparison between the two very soon. So, is the Thrustmaster T300 still worth it in 2022? It depends. Whilst it's a very capable wheelbase, which will give you the precision, feedback, and force you need to be competitive on track, it ultimately comes down to the price at which you're able to buy it. Anything over $400 and you're better off saving a little more and going for a TSXW or CSL-DD. But if you can find it for around the $200 to $300 price point, I reckon you'll be more than satisfied, especially if this is your first wheel or if you're upgrading from a lower end offering. As always, thank you all for watching, stay safe, and have a fantastic rest of your day.